Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing today? How is everyone doing today? This is Gregory Wiles coming live to you from Houston, Texas with his inspirational morning walk. First time listeners, I just get some exercise in the mornings and I just share my thoughts with you guys. Whatever I'm inspired to talk about that day, I will share with you guys. Yes, I usually be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 a.m. Central Time. That's our time here in Texas right now. I think that's 8:30 Eastern Time, and which if you're in a different time zone, you can calculate what time that is in your time zone. But this is 7:30 Central. This is our time in Texas. Good morning, Jillian. Good morning. How are you doing today? Hope the weather's good where you are. We're a little cold today for our standards, like low 40s, just jump out to the 30s. So I'll sit here a little bit and do what I give you this little word, and then I can get back to what I'm doing. But yes, it's still a great day here. We can get nice sunshine today and just a little cold for our standards, but that's okay. That's all good. So yes, this is Gregory Wiles with his inspirational morning walk, guys. If anyone hearing this for the first time, they want to know, I have everything uploaded on YouTube. You can go back there. I think it's over 100 and maybe 14, 15 of these little talks we did, and you can go back there and see anything or see if anything on there blesses you. But yes, today I want to shed some light. I know yesterday we had a good session. What is the one again? It's the offense, the spirit of offense, people who get easily offended. So today I want to touch on the next one of these things that can affect us and shed some light on it for some other people who are dealing with some other issues, right? This is the spirit of infirmity. The spirit of infirmity. Infirmity means any type of sickness you're dealing with. So I want to show you there is a spirit of infirmity, and this might shed some light on your situation, guys. I wanna say, this gonna give you a different perspective of maybe what you're dealing with, right? And what I want to say about this stuff, it come to me and I want to say it. A lot of times people say, oh, I don't believe in these things. I don't believe in these things. This stuff is foolishness. And once I got God, all is well. And I don't believe in these things. And I think it's because people don't understand. And that's why I try taking my time and explaining stuff and showing people scriptures. Lots of time you don't understand, because lots of time when people hear, oh, he's oppressed or possessed by a evil spirit, the mind goes to what I see in the movies and these exorcist movies, and people eye rolling back in their head, they're throwing stuff around, they're cursing out and they're fighting and they're doing all of this, and and people go back to that. No, that's not happening to me. I don't believe in the kind of stuff. And that's what automatically people's mind goes to, right? And they don't believe, well, they can be oppressed. And so I want to shed some light on this stuff, people, and make people understand. These things are different. Yes, what you've seen in the movies there, that is true. But it's a whole different type of evil force that particular individual is possessed with. That's what I said. They don't multitask, guys. They don't multitask. They have specific duties. One can do be an alcoholic spirit and a spirit of anger. They don't multitask. Either you got a spirit of anger driving you, or you got an alcoholic spirit driving you, or you got one of them lying, cursing fights. So the ones that you've seen in the movies is a different class that doing different things. That's what they're there. They're that fighting one. They're cursing. They're do a specific task, right? But you never hear somebody said, "Oh, this person's a quiet drunk." They're a quiet drunk. They just drink the alcohol and just go in the corner. They pass out. They don't bother nobody, right? Because they're just dealing with the alcoholic spirit here. But remember, they got some other people now that might get drunk and then they're loud, they're cursing out, they're beating up people, they're throwing stuff around. And that's they're dealing with the alcoholic spirit, but there's also other forces that driving them. Just like the man with he says a quiet drunk, he go in his car and he don't want nobody. Because he's specifically dealing with the alcoholic spirit. Alcoholic spirit is not a violent spirit. All he wanted to do is get this little alcohol in his system. He need a body to a throat to drink his alcohol. And he got in his car now. He's not violent. But the one who is violent now, he dealing with that. The alcoholic spirit opened the doors for the violent spirit of anger, spirit of all kind of thing coming them when they're throwing around, beating out people and and being loud. You say, no, he's a loud drunk. Is different things they're dealing with, right, guys? So I want to shed a little light for us, and then before we get into this. So I want to start off here. We're dealing with the spirit of infirmity. Is any type of sickness here, right? We want to break this stuff down, find that people can understand. So let's start with just same Luke 11:24 that we started with yesterday, which said, when an unclean spirit goes out, as Jesus was telling them, right? When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places seeking rest and finds none. He says, I'll return to my house from which I came, right? So I want to set the stage. Somebody might hear this for the first time, and this particular one. So this is saying, this is proof that an evil force can occupy this body that we have. Because this body here just designed to be occupied by a spirit, which is the real us, right? It's just like driving a car. It's just like driving a car. The car is there, that's the body, that's the shell, but the car cannot move without someone physically going behind the wheel and driving it, right? And think about your body like that, and think about our spirit. It's you who coming in this car and moving this car. And you can decide where you're going to go. I'm going to work today, I'm going to church today, I'm going shopping today. You telling this car where you want it to go. Just like our body. That's what makes us legals on earth, right? So when we say these evil forces, he said come in, and when it's cast out of a man. So it's like the car, that evil force, when they're in control, like they put you out of the driver's seat. You're still in the car, they put you in the passenger seat, they're still in the car, but they, at that point in time, they are driving the car. You're not in control of the car, but you're still in the car, right? I can't break it down finer than that. So this gives you an idea when he's saying. So this gives you proof, and this is Jesus himself saying this. When an unclean spirit, put it as an unclean spirit, goes out of a man, it goes in dry place, and then it tries to come back in. So this is clear that unclean spirit can occupy our body same way, alongside our spirit, and they can take over control at times. Once they get in there, I mean, they can take control, right? So let's go back again to 2 Corinthians 4:18. My good friend Paul, who always warned us, right, warning all the believers, while we do not look at the things which are seen, but at things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Paul warned us again. Believers, don't only look at what you're seeing in front of you. Don't only look at we got to be able to have the sense of discernment and look past that, right? So let's go now that we set the stage, let's now go into Luke 13, 11 through 13. Sorry, I didn't print up 10 from 10. I should have go from 10, because 10 said this was in a synagogue, right? They said this happened in a synagogue, right? A woman was in the synagogue while Jesus was teaching. I can pick it up from 11, and he said, behold, there was a woman who had the spirit of infirmity for 18 years. Carl Dujan, Tessa Hunt, Alan Dwayne, thank you guys for watching. Right? So they're saying here in Luke 13, 11 through 13, right? And saying, behold, there was a woman who had a spirit of infirmity, right? Because remember, we're talking about the spirit of infirmity, which is different type of sicknesses. She had this spirit of infirmity for 18 years and was bent over and could in no way raise herself up. So she had this spirit of infirmity for 18 years. She was bent over, like her spine curve. People got that sickness where the saying is, the spine curve over, the back bent over, right? For 18 years, right? This isn't a synagogue, guys. This is in a synagogue. This is a church, right? Jesus is teaching. This is not nowhere. And this woman, he said, had the spirit of infirmity, right? So, but when Jesus saw her, he called her to him and said to her, woman, you are loose from your infirmity. You are loose from your infirmity, right? So you are loose from your infirmity. And look what happened. Look what happened. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and glorified God. Immediately. And what would start out saying? She was bent over for 18 years. 18 years, guys. So, going back to Luke 11:24, not only that an unclean spirit could come in and inhabit this body alongside our spirit, but it has the ability to deform our body too, to change our body structure too, to change it. So this woman had this condition for 18 years. 18 years. So doctors already write it out, people. And you know you got some issue with you, and you tell yourself, oh, that's just my portion of life. I'm deaf, dumb, I'm curved. This is what happened to me. God made me like this, and you just dismiss it like that, right? And you say, this is my portion in life. You know, doctors can't do nothing for me. I'm shedding a light on the spiritual aspect of things, guys. That's what God using me to do. Shed light on the spiritual aspect of things and let you know He real, right? So this woman had this condition for 18 years. Jesus put His hands on her. He said He had the spirit of infirmity. And I know we overlook when we see the spirit, we take it in different light. No, this is a spirit of infirmity. And He said, when He said you're loose from your infirmity, and when that evil spirit came out of her, she straightened up immediately. Immediately she straightened up. So what happened to all the doctor diagnosis, but it's multiple sclerosis, is this, is that, and they give all things, your spine is curved. What happened to all of that? He said, when that spirit come out, when we say you loose from your infirmity, the spirit come out, immediately she straightened up, guys. Immediately, right? So let's look at the next one quick. Luke 11:14. Luke 11:14, right? And he was casting out a demon, and it was mute. What was mute? It means the demon was mute. He was casting out a demon, and it was mute. It means the demon was mute. When the demon had gone out, the mute man spoke. The mute man spoke, and the crowds were amazed. He said he was cast, and it was mute. It means the demon was a mute demon. But when he cast it out of this man, the man spoke. So the man of himself was not mute. The man of himself was not mute. Jesus tell you, it meaning the demon was a mute demon this man was dealing with. And we said he can't speak. He's dumb. But when the demon come out, the man spoke, and the crowds were amazed. Right? I'm not trying to put too much of my spin on nothing here today. I want to give you pure scripture and let you see this coming from your Bible. I want to share the light on you might dealing with something right now. I'm not telling you this is what you're dealing with, but I'm giving you a different perspective. And if you're a believer, you need to look at this perspective. Right? So let's look at Mark 5:25 through 34. Mark 5:25 through 34. There's the next situation. People might going to doctors over and over and over again, can't get a proper diagnosis. They don't know what's wrong with you, but you know you terribly sick. People can see the physical sick condition on you, but a doctor can't give you no diagnosis, and you're going back and forth till you just start going back and forth to a doctor because they can't tell you nothing properly. Let's look at Mark 5:25 through 34. Mark 5:25 through 34. It says, and a woman was there who has been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She's subject to bleeding for 12 years. The women who know about this, you know what we're talking about, what this woman was going through, right? She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors and spent all she had. Yet, instead of getting better, she grew worse. She went to many doctors over this 12-year period and couldn't get better. Instead of she get better, she getting worse. And you know what I want to point out here? She spent all that she had. She spent all that she had. And remember one time in one of my teachings to tell you, sometimes the chief one that's driving her illness is working along with the spirit of poverty in this case. It's working along, using the spirit of infirmity for drain her bank account. It's no coincidence. When you see stuff listed like this in the Bible, it's not coincidence. They said that she spent all she had. Why in the first case up here, where the woman was dealing with this, they didn't tell you she spent all she had and she suffered on it. They're shedding a different light on things, giving us different examples, right? And he said she spent all she had. She suffered under these doctors, spent all she had. Instead of getting better, she get worse, right? But look what happened. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. Touch his cloak. Because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I'll be healed. Immediately her bleeding stopped and she felt in her body that she was free from her suffering, right? Immediately, right? So this is a spiritual sickness here, right, guys? This is spiritual sickness. She go to the doctor. The doctor can't do nothing for her. Over a 12-year period, she suffered from bleeding. He cannot stop it. Instead, it get better, it get worse. She spent all her resources. I mean, she went to all the different specialists that she know and could afford, until she finished everything she had. So now, what she turned to now? Now, what she turned to, right? So yes, Carl, patience and faith, guys. Yes. So I'm shedding a different light on things, guys, and spiritually, man. Don't think this stuff is real, right? God made us in His own image and likeness, guys. He made us in His own image and likeness. And just as He's saying in Luke 11:24, when an unclean spirit goes out of man, not because a lot of these stuff here we're talking about is people that's in synagogue, people who go is believers, who go into church, who go into the synagogue, learn the stuff. But evil force still occupy part of the life and causing them some type of sickness, some type of illness. So when people say, "Oh, believers," no, believers cannot be possessed. Possessed means a total control, because you already give your life to Jesus. He already occupied that spot. But parts of your life, you could be oppressed. Certain areas of your life that Jesus is not in total control over because of decisions we make, and because of what we do, and because of generational curses and all of that. That certain parts of our life, an unclean spirit, as Jesus put it here, can be in charge of. Like I always explained, it's like a city, right? It's like a city. You know your city, the mayor's in control of the city, of whichever city you live. But they got some parts of that city the police don't even want to go. The police don't really go. The police is not in control of a particular part of your city, right? Some gang, some mafia, whatever is in control there. The police they're not in full control. And everybody know it. Everybody know it, right? The police not going in a certain area to do nothing too crazy. Them people sort themselves out. If the police got to get called, they're making sure they're going with thousands of backups, and they're not in fully control of certain parts. But in certain parts of the area, clear, you have nice neighborhoods. You want to buy a house there because it's police presence and police in total control, and certain areas. It's just like that. That's I'm trying to put it as simple as I can, right? Certain souls like that. So Christian, don't be totally possessed, but in certain areas it can be oppressed. Certain areas of your life. But if you a non-believer who don't, they can be totally possessed, because they didn't give their life to Jesus. He's not occupying that space there, right? But so I just want to break this down fine. So the spirit of infirmity. So you might be going to doctors over and over, or in some case have something physical. I'm just giving you a different perspective from the word, from the scripture. And you can take a look at this perspective here that I'm giving you and pointing out, guys, right? So so I hope this sheds some light for some people who are dealing with some stuff, and just give this stuff a look into it. Jesus, He's real. He can do. He's the ultimate healer. He's the ultimate healer, guys. So when you are sickness, don't pray against a particular sickness. You can come against now the spirit of infirmity. That's the chief one that controls these sicknesses. The spirit of infirmity. He gives us in light. The spirit of infirmity. Here we tell the woman, you're infirmity. You're now loose from your infirmity. He didn't say I straighten up your spine. He didn't say I straighten up your spine. Being loose from the crippling spirit. No, he said you're being loose from your infirmity, right? So this gives us a clue. Come against the spirit of infirmity. infirmity. When you come to get anything, come against the spirit of infirmity, right? Just like the other spirits, of spirit of anger, spirit of fear, spirit of the ones that we dealt with like yesterday, the one spirit of offense and all of that, right, guys? So I'm gonna leave it there today, guys. Have a great weekend, and I just want to make sure I give you something to think about going into the weekend. So I'll meet you again on Monday. Thank all you guys for listening and commenting. Carl Dujan, thank you for your comments. Talk to you guys on Monday. Goodbye.